What if I told you all you had to do was skip Starbucks and then you could get yourself the brand new railed version of the Kimber KDS9C? I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but I've got the numbers to back that up. We'll talk about here in just a minute. Welcome back everybody, Mike here. And I finally got in the KDS9C. However, this is the brand new railed version that's gonna drop this week. So I was lucky enough to get my hands on it a little bit early, and it is in that beautiful gray color, which you know I'm a huge fan of with those black accents. And I'm glad I waited because I first saw these reviews popping up on this thing several months ago, early 2023 timeframe or mid 2023. And I was super interested because this is a modernized version of a 1911-esque style design. So you get the benefits of something modern, and that modern stuff is going to be things like an optics cut, better slide serrations, a railed version, but giving you the things that you know and love from the 1911, like that trigger. I got this new railed version of the KDS9C in, a bit of a Christmas gift, and the next day, literally, I took it to the range and put almost 500 rounds through it, because sometimes when you're having fun, you just want to keep going out there. Now for all the range testing on this one, I used a variety of different ammunition types, everything from 115 grain, 124 grain NATO, and assorted self-defense ammunition. Now it did take a little bit of getting used to because I've run mostly striker fired stuff recently, and this is quite a bit different. So I just did all the drills I like to do out there, transition drills, build drills, you know, going from one target to another and just seeing how fast I can run it accurately. And I have to say, once I got settled in and used to this thing, you can run this as fast as you can possibly get your little trigger finger moving, and it performed like a champ out there. This newer version does have the rail on it, so you can run whichever light you choose. And I know for a fact that there is at least one holster company, which is TXC, great holster company. I've got several of their holsters and they make good stuff. It's going to be making inside the waistband, outside the waistband, light bearing and non-light bearing for the new KDS9C. So whether you want to put a light on it or get the railed version and put a light on it when you're out doing something and then take the light off for EDC, those options, if they're not available right now, will be coming out at least from TXC very soon. So you're not going to be in like a holster desert if you get the new version. Now I know some of you are aching to see this thing a little bit more up close, and of course check out that trigger right there, which is exceptional. The 1911 trigger, if well done, is always going to be a very solid setup. So we'll go ahead and take the up close look, go over the specs, and of course put it on the gauge right now. All right, let's get up close and personal with the new Kimber KDS9C right here. But let's talk about what it's actually gonna come with, starting with the case you're gonna get. Obviously it'll come in a cardboard box, then you're gonna get this nice carrying case. It's gonna have all of your locks, your manuals, everything that you would expect to have from the company in there. Extra spaces for additional magazines and additional internal pockets here. Should you carry a couple of extra mags and you don't want to have it in there scratching up your pistol, you can put them anywhere you want. You're also going to get, obviously, the KDS9C. You get one extended magazine, so you're going to get a couple of extra rounds. And then you'll get a standard double stack 9mm 15 rounder right here with that flush fitting base plate. So you guys can have a good look at how that's going to fit and look. I've got double XL hands and it's literally right at the bottom of the frame right there. And then you see how that extended one fits in there. Overall, very solid. Now the biggest difference here on the new version, you got the rail. So you're going to have multiple slots of Picatinny rail up there, the standard 1913 spacing. So you can put whatever you want on there and have it at the appropriate distance away from that trigger guard if you've got big long fingers like I do, which is very solid. Now for the overall pistol here, as you can see, it's a 1911-esque design, but in a modern package. So fully machined aluminum grip right here, 1911 style trigger, 1911 style grip panels. You got a very nice kind of bob cut there on the back side of that. So it is extremely comfortable in the profile of the palm right there. A pinned back strap safety. You're going to have an ambidextrous safety right there. You're going to have a slightly extended slide stop slide release right there, which is very nice, whether you work this with the primary hand up here like that, or whether you come in after a reload and work it with your offhand thumb, completely up to you. A very nicely designed, knurled, and well-placed magazine release right there. Rounded trigger guard. There's no texture on the front of the trigger guard, but you've got good texture on the front strap and the back strap of the grip right there. And then of course that rail, which we already addressed. Moving up to the slide right here, you're gonna get a external extractor right there. Very usable front and rear serrations, no matter how you wanna work that slide. Optics cut, obviously, which is a nice modern touch to a 1911S design. And you'll see a very nicely profiled and cut bull barrel right there. So a lot of people think these are just machining marks in there for looks. Those are actually debris grooves. So as that slide works and reciprocates, right, those are meant to get debris pushed into them so they're not on the top or the hood of the barrel, so it can continue to function nicely out there. It is a tri-top style slide design right there. As you can see, that triangular cut. You got those linear grooves on the top, and then again, those workable serrations right there, which are very nice and very well done. Overall, the machine work here, absolutely top notch. Little bit of a kind of a bob cut up there in the front, and then that barrel, as I said earlier, is deeply recessed and crowned in there. So it is a slick design. Now the optics plate system here will have a rear sight integrated in it. You do have to get the taller sight up in the front. Otherwise, it will be a 3-dot white tritium front style sight setup. So if I took this off and put the standard plate, it would be a standard height sight on there. Overall, the logo work, very minimal here. You just have the KDS9C right there on the side, and then Kimber here. So this is just an absolutely very clean looking build. Let's go ahead and check the trigger, because I know a lot of you want to see that. That's your typical take up, and then it just breaks. So very, very clean, very tactile reset, and very audible as well. We'll go ahead and put this on the gauge right here. And I want to say it's probably going to pull right at around 4 pounds. Pulling dead center here. Okay, so that was 3.16 right there. Reset that, go again. And I'm trying to pull directly from the middle because the 1911 trigger, whoop, let me reset that one. The 1911 trigger is linear, there's no arc, so you got to pull straight from the center of the trigger to get the appropriate gauge. 1.94. I'm going to slow it down because sometimes when you pull electronic trigger gauges fast, you can get a different weight on there. So, all right, 2.78. We'll do one more here. All right, and that was at 3.14. Heck, let's do one more because I want to try and pull the same speed in the exact same spot right there. 292. So you can see it's going to be just an exceptional trigger, and it looks absolutely great. Now I know some of you need the full spec sheet, so here it is. That is just good stuff right there. Now, for those of you that haven't followed the channel for a very long time, this is my Kimber TAC Entry 2 that I carried on duty for like 7 years. Bought it with my own money, carried it out there for a long time, hundreds of shifts out on duty, and it hits me in the feelers every time I get that back out on the range. So I'm a little bit partial to the Kimber name, but I am very happy Kimber has moved into the modern double stack 1911 style design here with the KDS9C. But I say that to let you guys know that I am a little bit biased, obviously. I've bought several Kimbers, I've trusted my life to them, I've carried them out there in the real world on duty many, many times, but that's not going to affect how I do my reviews. And if you haven't been paying attention over the last several months, I've had some big names in the industry have some serious problems here in the channel, all of which you guys get to see, again, because nobody gets a free pass. Now that being said, did I have any issues with the KDS9C out there, and how much does this thing cost? I'm happy to report I did not have any feeding issues, any extraction issues, no issues of any kind with this thing running reliably out on the range on any of the ammunition types And I ran out there from 115, 124, 147 self-defense, or any other hollow point style ammunition that I regularly run out there for testing. Now the price point here, this thing is sitting right at 1,900 bucks. Now I know that may sound like a lot to some of you out there, but let's think about this. A modernized 1911 style design built to this level is not going to be striker fired pistol cheap. I know we would all love to see that, but it's just not realistic to compare the price point of something like this to the price point of something like a Glock. And I also know that there are sub $1,000 double stack 1911s out there. I've tried several of them, and what I can tell you is they're just not to this level. Now, someone is definitely going to ask, is it worth it? Well, yeah, if you want something like the KDS9C and you've got the budget for it, I think it's going to make you very happy. If you want the KDS9C and you don't have the budget for it, let's talk about that Starbucks thing again, because as I was doing my own financials for 2023, I wanted to see where other people were spending their money. And I read a study that showed that the average person that goes to Starbucks spends $1,316 a year on bad, burnt tasting coffee. And I thought that was pretty crazy because this thing's 1,900 bucks. So basically, kick to Starbucks, pick yourself up a KDS9C or whatever else you want out there in the market, and you pretty much have leveled it out, depending on how long you decide to go out with Starbucks. But there's more, right? There's always more. Most of you are going to eat out, whether it's fast food or something else, a couple times a month. Well, that gets really expensive too. So if you do the math on that, a couple times a month for some fast food, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, you've completely paid for a brand new railed version of the Kimber KDS9C, and you're probably healthier and better off for it, because I know personally, if I had the choice between bad, burnt tasting, crappy coffee and fast food, or a KDS9C from Kimber, I pretty much know which direction I'm personally going to go with that. All right, but like I said, nobody gets a free pass here, even though I really do like this thing. There are a lot of good attributes here, everything from the ambidextrous controls, the slightly extended slide stop slide release, the overall design, the 1911 trigger. There's just so much good stuff here. What is one thing that if I had to nitpick this that I would change, and that is going to be, I'd like to see a little bit more grip on the side panels here. They are usable, it is good. I didn't have any problems controlling it out there on the range, but I'm a fan of just huge, knurled, aggressive grip texture, especially for my offhand. Whatever I can get in there to get extra grip on that thing, I'm a big fan of. So if I had to knock this thing or just nitpick it to death for one thing, that would be it. Otherwise, the design is super solid, and again, that gray and black toned look, I'm just a huge fan of it. You get the extended double stack mags, one of those, one standard flush fit, so overall the package is solid. The only other thing I will say is 3 is the magic number of mags. I say that on everything. I would just love to see everything come with 3 mags. Make sure you get subbed up to the channel, and make sure you check out the parts list if you're interested in anything you saw here today. Keep doing it on the range. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you all on the next one.